This is the Patriots Prayer Podcast. It's a tremendous show, one of the greatest shows in the history of the world.
This is Bryson Gray, and you are watching the Patriots Prayer.
Soon on the Patriots Prayer Network. Thank you all.
America's falling, they all say. Gather the faithful now and pray. The Patriots Prayer. The Patriots Prayer. All the wicks are trimmed, oil is filled to the brim. I haven't changed yet somehow. I'm the radical now. America's falling, they all say. Gather the faithful now and pray. The Patriots Prayer.
Welcome, everybody, to a special broadcast of the Patriots Prayer on this Labor Day. Today, we have a couple of special guests. The first one, and I'm sure you guys will recognize him, and if you guys are watching on his X page right now, it is Steve Loves Ammo. I'll bring him up here in just a second. And then our second guest today is going to be Tommy Gabriel, and he's going to tell us a story on why he left the left. And I think it's going to be a really fascinating conversation. So if you guys don't know Steve is a veteran, a patriot. He started his X page a little over a year ago and has blown up. Let me bring him up here. The introduction is hardly even needed, Steve. You are a wonderful patriot. Let everybody know who you are.
Oh man, you're kind of selling me up on that one. Yeah, I'm Steve, guys. I post, all the time, and I am officially joining the Patriots Prayer Network. Just trying to figure out a lot of the details behind it. If I'm gonna do a weekend show or a daily show, there's also a lot of things that I need to do, equipment and logistics wise to get it running, probably within a month or so. But I'm really excited. I never expected this. Less a year and a half ago, creating my first X account, and I'm ready to get started. To be honest, there's our nation, like there's just so much going on right now, and being like middle class, like I'm no better than anybody else, right? But I just use my voice to bring this country together, because the best thing, we'll talk about this more later, but Trump bringing Kennedy in, that just shows a huge unity, and this is a moment that we can take our nation back, honestly.
And this has been something that the right wing have talked about for a while, that it's a good versus evil is what we like to say, or it's people who love America versus people who want to drastically change America's image and what she stands for and where she's going to go in the future. And you can kind of see this just with that unity that Trump has actually brought to this party. Trump has brought to the people, right? Trump, Elon Musk, Tulsi Gabbard, RFK Jr., they are all former Democrats that have seen the party shift. They've seen the drastic change in what the Democrats stand for. And to be honest, what the Republicans stand for. That's why they're not switching to Republican. They're switching to Trump's party. I know that he's running as a Republican right now, but it is a different party. This is MAGA. This is making America great again. We are standing tall, separate from the Republicans and the Democrats. And Steve, I want to say that you are absolutely right with saying that we're the middle class, we're the Patriots, and one of the things I'm really excited to have you on the Patriots Prayer Network is this is exactly what the network's for. This is the ability of regular everyday Americans to come together and have a voice. Because 10 years ago, Steve, I don't think that it would have even been possible for you to have a voice like this. And your message that you put out consistently resonates with so many people. A year and a half, and how many followers are you up to? 280,000?
280, yeah.
Yeah, that's insane.
I was trying to push the 300 before tonight, but it just is what it is. I'm not trying to be greedy.
Hey man, that growth is very, very special and unique, and obviously your message resonates with so many Americans because it feels like there is such a separation, and it happens with a lot of the influencers that we see out there today. A lot of the influencers that have been able to be put in those positions or were paid to be there, that they're so separated from the middle class and what the average everyday American is actually going through, that now we have a platform like this where everyday Americans who have the capability and they're competent enough and they can articulate the problems, and it resonates with people because it's real, it's genuine. We live these struggles. We live it day to day. And especially someone like you, a veteran of this country, someone who put their life on the line to fight for it. Now, as you have retired, I'm sure that your oath to the Constitution will never waver.
Nope.
And you feel that duty as of right now to stand up and speak out before it gets any further than where we're at right now.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, there are a lot of veterans that follow me, and I'm mutual follows with them on X, and we're all have the same ideas behind it. Like, we signed the dotted line, and we believe in a great nation, and there are so many details behind the great nation, and we wanted to keep it that way. And that's why I think it's so important that we address the southern border crisis. I don't want to get too much into detail about stuff like that, but once we lose sovereignty as a nation, we have lost the nation. So at the end of the day, like, yeah, I mean, I'm a veteran, I served overseas and all that other stuff. And there are a lot of other veterans on X and different platforms that their voice is just as important. So I don't know how I was going to formulate that, but what I'm saying is like everybody is important behind this movement. There is nobody greater than or less than, and that's why I made this post, and you guys can go see it on my page, my pinned tweet or pinned post. It's about unity, and this is what this is what we need to get back to, because under Joe Biden, he split the country in half right from the start. And I think America's tired of it, and they're wanting to come back together.
Yeah, I fully agree. I've been tired of it for quite a while now, and being able to speak out on X and having this platform, shout out to Elon Musk for buying Twitter and changing it to X, because now regular folks like us can actually have a voice. And I know that there's a lot of influence out there that say like that they believe that they're part of it. I mean, I don't mean to bash the Daily Wire too much, but we're in kind of direct competition with people like the Daily Wire, which, I mean, they grew so fast because they have a ton of money in advertisements that they were able to throw around. And like Steve was saying earlier, I mean, we are literally just everyday citizens feeling that need, feeling that call from deep within our soul to speak out for this country and do everything in our power to change it. And we have the platform now, and we're going to build from here. We have the opportunity. We're getting together. We're going to build it up, and hopefully you guys can join us.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited, man. This is I guess
what I want to explain to everybody is like, so in my day-to-day job, I do a lot of public speaking. So podcasting is like a completely different thing. Like, when you're talking to a computer, it's not like the counter right now is 1,500 people that have viewed this. And I'm like, I've never spoken to 1,500 people at once before, right? So it's a little nerve-wracking because there's a lot of I guess, nuances and things you need to learn, in order to produce a really good show. But if I like have hiccups stuff along the way, it's just because I'm a noob.
Hey man, so am I. And this is one of the things that I had a guy comment. I'd made a video earlier today and put it out on my page, and he was like, "Hey man, can you put like subtitles on your video?" He's like, "I can't hear you." He's like, "I got bad hearing," and I was like, "Oh, like, I mean, I'll figure it out. I don't know how to do that yet, but I will." I mean, my as many of you guys, or as you guys may know, I change industrial tires for a living. Steve, he does construction. I change industrial tires, right? So we're not the most computer tech savvy guys out there. Just the fact that we're able to do this and get this set up and be able to broadcast to you guys is absolutely amazing. And the fact that we're now getting a message, an actual message put behind that people can actually get behind and support, and we can really start making a difference in this country. I know that, I mean, as the Patriots Prayer Network, we've been invited to Trump rallies and TPUSA events and other things like that. So I'm actually excited. We are going to be hosting another event coming up soon. Actually, I can't release any of the details right now because they're not 100% locked in. But Steve, I'm hoping that you'll be there, and I'm hoping that you'll be able to represent and be able to bring in the veteran voice that is much needed. You know, someone who has served this country and who has signed up for any kind of battle. And I know that this may have not been the battle you were thinking of when you signed on that dotted line, but hey, man, this is a spiritual battle between good and evil, and you find yourself right in the thick of it, and you find yourself being a prominent voice. So what is it like experiencing the rapid growth that you've experienced? Is this just, I mean, how do you kind of remain humble in a way? Because I've seen a lot of influencers, I've seen it like get to their head, right? And then just kind of expect it. But I know I've talked to you so many times, and I know you're a fairly humble guy. So how do you keep that mentality?
Man, I don't like I said before. Like when I created my X account, I did not set any expectations, you know, and I never will for the future, because you know what I do is I like to say how I feel, right? And if people want to follow me or get behind the movement, then like join me, let's go. You know what I mean? And I'm never gonna, I guess, have that mentality where, okay, oh, say I have 1 million followers or something like that. That doesn't matter to me. It just means that there are people that have the same opinions or have the same thoughts behind me. And those are the people that like really motivate me every single day. Because I will let you guys know, like a larger account, it's work. You know, if you try to build networks or you try to, I don't know, find content or create content, it's very time consuming. So if you guys ever send me out something to repost, please give me a second. All right.
Understand.
Because that's what I do. I love to elevate other patriots. You know, I like to pay it forward or pay it back. You know, if someone, you know, even if you have 100 followers, but if it's something that you feel needs to get out there, like I always want to be that resource for people.
Yeah, and that's a beautiful thing, man. And that's actually probably one of the reasons why so many people have been drawn to your personality, is because you actually exude that kind of energy where people understand that you're not in it for the money. You're not in it to gain the followers like that. Like, I mean, obviously it's a good perk, right? It does feel good at certain times to have, you know, these following and everything like that. But that's definitely not the reason why we had set out for that, to start this journey. And it's come a long way, and it's such a short amount of time, and man, we got a long way to go. One of the main things that I stress to people is that once we get Trump elected, like there's a lot of work to be done until then, but once we get Trump elected, that's when the real work begins. That's when our boots on the ground is going to be incredibly important to help change this country for the better.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I think that's everyone's mission right now. And that's honestly, I see bickering in between accounts and stuff like that. And to me, that's just noise. I don't pay attention. I don't chime in because it's smoke and mirrors and it's a distraction. The main focus right now is getting Donald Trump elected to turn this country around. And that's what should be everybody's focus.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, it's a lot of, I guess a lot of ego battles on X that I see quite a bit. And, you know, if somebody says the wrong thing, yeah. Generally speaking, I stay out a lot of that stuff. I'll try and help promote. And this is, you know, one of the reasons why Eddie and I started the Patriots Prayer Network was that we could lift as many patriotic voices as we can, that we can give somebody the chance who normally wouldn't have the chance at a larger audience or you know, just an introduction to more people without having to drop thousands or millions of dollars in advertisements. You know, you and I, we built up a following for specific reasons in our patriotism, and being able to now expose those followers to new ideas or similar ideas and sentiments that are from other patriots. I mean, this is an absolutely beautiful thing, and one of the ways that we help fix this country is we stop spending our money with people who actually hate you. I mean, this is a very difficult thing to do, but our time, our energy needs to be spent supporting patriotic people, patriotic companies, things like that, listening to patriotic voices. I mean, just something like hitting the like button on this video, right, on Rumble. If you're watching on Rumble right now, or if you guys are watching on X, you can go over to Rumble at The Patriots Prayer. And if you just hit like and share, I mean, that does a ton for us. And it doesn't take all that much. I mean, I understand it is very difficult to compete with a lot of these companies that have been in control for so long, and making a dent in that is what we're attempting to do right now. And I think I see a chink in that armor, and we're going for it full steam. Yep. We're not stopping. Yeah. So we actually have another guest here. You guys, I can see all the chat. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Yeah, podcasts are a ton of work. Thank you, the McGroin Nation, for tuning in. I appreciate you guys always tuning in for the chat. Yes, if you can, join on Rumble, share it. And I know Steve is streaming this on his X account as well, which is a wonderful thing. And his introduction to the world, this beautiful American patriot. Look at that guy. Look at that beard. That's I see. I can't grow that at all, man. I got
a lot of white too.
There ain't nothing wrong with that. Oh, 40. You're over the hill now.
Yes, sir.
Man. Hey, that's still young enough to be in the battle, though, you know. So, but we also have another guest coming up. I really wanted to. I guess show you guys this story that he has. He reached out to me a little while back in regards to the way that he changed his opinion from left to right, growing up a certain way, growing up in a blue city, and then all of a sudden having an awakening. And this is something that I've kind of been fascinated with, and what can awaken people from that deep slumber. And it has been one of my motivations for a while to be able to speak to people who disagree with me and try to get them to come to our side, right? Or rather, try to get them to realize that our enemy is the same, and us fighting each other isn't going to actually do anything. So this gentleman's name here is Tommy. I forgot his last name. I believe it's Tommy Gabriel. I would like to bring him up to the stage so we can have a nice little introduction. And Tommy, how are you, man?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing quite well. So it is my understanding, Tommy, that you grew up in a blue city, a blue state, fairly liberal, work in a liberal place, or as a freelancer is my understanding. So kind of run us a little bit through your history, where you grew up, and your overall, I guess, sentiment, and how you felt growing up as a liberal, or you know, anything like that.
Yeah, so born and raised in New Jersey, you know, the East Coast, and I kind of was liberal by default, kind of just going with the mainstream, going with the vibe of everyone. My generation and generations before that, kind of just not trying to ruffle any feathers and just kind of do my own thing. So that's kind of where I started, and, you know, things have changed.
Things have definitely changed in this country, man. And was there a specific moment where you were kind of looking around and questioning, before you had the full awakening, right? Before you decided that the values that you want to see in this world aren't being embodied by the left? Was there a moment where you were kind of looking around and questioning, like starting to question what you saw and what you were being told? Was there any kind of moment like that?
Yeah, there was a few things. The big migrant crisis that's going on in New York, you know, just with the infiltration of just a lot of different people and just making it an unsafe environment, that kind of was like, wait, why are we allowing this to go on? Why aren't we asking any questions about this? And then the college student fund thing that Joe Biden was trying to do at one point, where he was trying to like cover all kinds of people's student loans. And I'm like, I didn't go to college, but I'm a freelancer, so I always have to pay taxes. So why are we gonna do that on top of that? It just doesn't make sense to me.
You know, this is actually something that Steve and I discuss a lot, especially behind, I guess not overtly on X, but we talk about the border and what kind of chaos that actually brings to our communities. And one of the main things that doesn't get shown by the media is, I mean, you can say that the 100,000 fentanyl deaths experienced by the American people, and it's not just overdoses, right? This is fentanyl poisonings. This is people who are trying to experiment with something like Molly or Percocet, you know, the more mild drugs that shouldn't kill you, and all of a sudden they wind up dead. One of our actually most recent podcast hosts, her name is Ann Funder. She gave a speech at the RNC. She's now speaking for the Patriots Prayer Network. Her son was poisoned by one of these fentanyl pills it was a Percocet or something like that was laced with fentanyl. And the amount of chaos and destruction that actually brings to our society cannot be measured properly. It is not just the deaths. It is their family. It is their friends that are grieving, that don't get to see this. Plus you have the rapes and the murders that these illegals, that these never should have happened. If our border was closed, these never would have happened. And so you can't quite measure that the exact damage that it's doing and what it can bring down the road. So just looking at that and questioning it is a huge first step as to, you know, why do we have a border in the first place? You know, like why would America need a border? Well, America needs a border because America is a place, right? We're a certain place and we can't house the world. It's that simple. And if we are to retain our rights, our freedoms, and our ability to thrive, then we actually have to have a border. We can't let the other 7 billion people in this world flow into our country. There's no way for us to sustain that. So good on you for questioning that. Steve, is there anything you want to say about the border without going on a 20-minute tirade?
How much time do we have? So the border, obviously, like we were discussing earlier, there's no sovereignty as a nation if you don't have a border. And you can see like what's going on in Europe and UK and you know, France and all these. There's a lot of violence, you know, and it seems to only be targeting, you know, those and then like liberal cities here. So, and I mean, I'm sure you've kind of noticed this and you've kind of been like, oh, all right, so, you know, what's going on? Why aren't Americans prioritized over these illegals? You know, so I guess like what I want to know is like, was there a specific point that was like, okay, wait, time out. Let me research the other side and see what they have to offer.
Yeah, it was, to be honest with you, it was the assassination attempt with Donald Trump was what really kind of woke me up in a way where I was like, why is people wishing like death and harm and all this, you know, from the left? And I just couldn't imagine that. And, you know, regardless of who you're for, you shouldn't wish harm on others. And right. That just was just not what I was expecting. And it got me curious to see what the other side had to say. I just, like I said, I was on the left by default, so I didn't know any other viewpoint, and certain things just made sense. I watched Charlie Kirk and TPUSA and PragerU, and I just really educated myself on more things. Right. Also, this podcast.
And, so, in other words, you were listening to hate speech and extreme radical right-wing misinformation is what you're saying.
Sure, if you want to go with that.
Yeah. So I got a question for you. The perception that you had of right-wingers, did you have any kind of caricature in your mind of what Trump supporters were, and has it lined up with your previous perception, or has there been a different kind of welcoming to the side that you would expect?
I would say the welcoming, everyone has been really nice and supportive of my story and my journey that have asked or that I've just been vocal about. You guys aren't too bad. You guys aren't the bad people that they say that they are. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know what they're talking about. You guys are very supportive and really proud people no matter what it is, and you guys all just want to just build each other up, and I love that. So it's been a good experience, and
When
I'm
are you
happy.
going to a Trump rally?
I don't know. I have to find one near me.
Yeah. Hey, I want to tell you, I've only been to one Trump rally, and it was here in Conroe, Texas. And I will tell you, it was an eye-opening experience. You know, I supported Trump and all that stuff before, but when I went to the Trump rally, I met people of, you know, all ages, all races, you know, all one common goal. You know, in fact, a little short story. I made the mistake of not bringing cash. All right, and whenever you're at the Trump rally, you're just standing in line for a while and all this other stuff, and then eventually, like you go inside the gate, and they don't take credit cards or anything. It's literally just cash. Well, I stood in line for like 20 minutes to get food, and they were like, "Oh, sorry, cash only." And I'm like, "Oh man, what am I supposed to do?" You know, I'm like, I'm hungry. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But a person behind me, they gave me a $20 bill to pay for it. So you know, that kind of resonated with me. You know, I still follow her. It was on my Truth Social account that I met her, but anyways, so to me, that's what MAGA is. You know, we who's that guy? Is a representative, but he always calls MAGA extremist. You know, but
Oh, there's a lot of them.
you know, I think Gunther calls him Dollar Tree Obama. I can't remember his name right now, but
Is it Adam
Hakeem
Kinzinger?
Jeffries. God, man, I
Oh.
can't believe he calls him Dollar Tree Obama. But anyways, Gunther's his own animal. But anyways,
Oh yeah. Well,
so
Tommy, I gotta say, you're talking right now to two of the most right-wing extremist people out there. I mean, we're both married, okay, not to each other, but we both have a wife and kids, and have blue-collar jobs. I mean, according to the media, according to the mainstream press, we are the people that you should be terrified of. I live out in the middle of the woods, right? I'm one of those crazy rednecks that drives a big old truck and with a big old American flag on the back that you should be running scared of, is what you're told, right? Even though you come into a conversation like this was a very, very recent switch that flicked in your mind, and you said it was during the Donald Trump assassination attempt, which should be highlighted more so than it actually is, because that's kind of been really quiet in the news as of late. But that was a big deal for this country and should have been an eye-opener for a lot of the people. And I love that story that Steve just shared about, I mean, it's a lot of little things, right? It's a lot of little things that MAGA tends to do, and a lot of the people behind the scenes that make our society run, a lot of the plumbers, the electricians, the construction workers, the linemen that work on the power lines, a lot of those people are MAGA, and they get underappreciated and thrown to the wolves by the media, if you will. Even though when you come onto a podcast saying that just last month you had this change of heart, and lo and behold, you're talking to a couple of guys that have a combined 450,000 follows, and I mean, if you talk on across all our platforms, it's over 500,000 easy. So you're talking to a couple of guys that actually have some fairly influence on the right wing sphere. And I mean, do you feel threatened at all? Are you all right?
No, I'm actually excited. I actually want to shout my X account out. That's how exciting it is.
Oh, how about that? Yeah, go. Let's see. We got it right here. We have Tommy Gabriel. Look at this. It's Tommy Gabriel at on X. So this guy, he made his recent transition over here to MAGA, and he sounds like he's genuinely curious about it. And you guys can go interact with his posts. So far, he's been a pleasure to talk to. I really like it. So, is there anywhere else that people can find you, or is it just X?
You can find me on Truth Social. I'm verified on there. You could find me on Facebook, Twitter, X, Instagram, anything. Everything is It's Tommy Gabriel. So you could find me anywhere on there.
Perfect. All right, that's what I like to hear, man. And okay, whoop. All right, okay, I got it. Don't worry. I'm newer to running the show. Usually Eddie runs the show behind the scenes, and makes it a lot easier on me. But now he's like off driving, doing stuff. So yeah, that guy. But I want to hear a little bit more about your journey so far. So apart from PragerU and things of that nature, is there anything that you're looking into that kind of really catches your eye and piques your interest into maybe what you thought before you decided to start looking into the right wingers, or something that just caught your eye? I'm just curious.
Honestly, nothing specific. Honestly, it was just kind of just everything all at once. I kind of was just like, oh, so that's why they think
Whole
that.
new world.
Oh, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? And it was like, so I'm not the only person that thinks that, or
Mhm.
type of thing. Especially with when it comes to certain policies and stuff like that. It was just like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Or I have a different view on now. Like abortion was a topic that I was just not really sure where I standed at. But now I understand your guys' side, and it makes a lot more sense, and it makes me on that side as well of everything. So it makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, this is actually a big point of contention here is when the left paints anybody on the right saying that the only reason we don't want abortion is because we want to control women's bodies, that we want to have this power over women that doesn't allow them to have sovereignty or control or anything like that. But I mean, in all reality, at least my argument for abortion is that it is not about women's rights literally at all. It is about humans' rights. It is about when human rights begin. It is this country was founded on the fact that the founding fathers put down that our rights stem from God, from our creator, and that all men are created equal and endowed with certain inalienable rights. And the question that we must ask ourselves is, when do those rights begin? And if you try to be as scientific as you can, if you want to take religion out of the argument, you get as scientific as you can, and you trace human development all the way back to the earliest point that all three of us in this podcast right now, that everybody watching this podcast, if you trace all of it, all of us back to what point, it would be the zinc spark during fertilization. That would be the only time where you can definitively say that is no longer, it is no longer a unique set of DNA. It is anything before that. You have sperm and an egg. Those are two separate entities. But once those combine, that is the earliest stage of human development. And that's when I believe human rights should begin and should be respected. And our laws, our morality should be aimed at respecting life as early as we can and protecting our rights, even for the most innocent among us. Now, that doesn't seem like I want to control women's bodies, but that's what it's painted as, man. I get told that all the time. I mean, it is constant.
I even thought that at one point, and once I did my research, I understood where everything was coming from, and it made a lot more sense than just, oh, we're trying to control, and we're this evil thing, and it's like that's not the case.
Yeah, we have this. Oh, go ahead, Steve.
No, I was just gonna ask. So since you've reached out and with us right wingers or whatever, how was the reaction to friends and family? Have they embraced your thoughts and ideas behind it, or did you get any kind of flack for it?
Yeah, so family has been supportive. They love me no matter what my view is. Friends,
Are they also MAGA?
No, no, they're not. Surprisingly,
Wow.
not yet.
Oh, there you go.
But for friends, some coworkers, they don't understand it. They think being on here is a career killer, but I don't see it as that. I see it as being able to break the barriers and be able to speak my mind and be able to have my thoughts and connect with people that relate to me, and that's why I'm here. So most friends, were supportive. They didn't understand it, but they were supportive. But coworkers, they are nervous, and they're probably nervous right now as they're watching.
You know what's really interesting about that, and I hope they are watching. If you guys are watching, shout out, hello, peace to you. I mean, really, I hope they are, because in all reality, the more people we can show that we are not actually what the media portrays us as. I mean, that's one of the hardest battles that I face on a daily basis on X, is trying to break people from arguing with the caricature they have in their head. They'll see a post from me and then assume all of these negative beliefs, and they'll say, well, you believe this, this, and this, and you worship Donald Trump and this and that. It's like, no, I don't, none of that. Like, what are you, who are you arguing with? Like, I mean, I don't know. The problem is that I know why they believe it, because I actually watch the media. I understand what they say. I understand why they're saying I am the way I am, why they demonize somebody like me, but it's just not true. It's simply not true. So I hope that if your family and friends are watching, I hope that you guys can understand that, hey, maybe all the MAGA people are not that bad. Maybe they're not this cultist worshipers of Donald Trump. I got 100 criticisms for Donald Trump that I could lay out for you right now. We don't need to go down that road, but there are. There's a million criticisms I have for him, but it's like, my hardest battle is just showing people that I'm human, that I actually come from, that my stances come from a place of love, and I'm not this evil caricature that the media has been painting for years and years and years. So yes, I hope they're watching.
I'm sure that they are.
But Native, you're an American Indian white supremacist, aren't you?
That's what they say. I've been called, and this is strictly from the left. By MAGA folks online, I've been called brother. I've been called patriot. By left wingers, they've told me that they wish for another Trail of Tears, that I am Uncle Tonto, that I am an apple, which is red on the outside, white on the inside, that I am the native face of white supremacy, that I'm a race traitor, that I'm a disgrace to my ancestors. I mean, the list goes on, and I get called that all the time, and it is very, 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 very often just somebody who sees one of my posts, disagrees with it, and then decides to, like, they just all of those racial epithets come out immediately. It usually only takes about 2 or 3 tweets, and then whoosh, they all come out.
But what they try to do is they try to demonize like each race individually to further divide everybody, instead of bringing everyone together and celebrating their differences. But they're not doing that. They're doing that because they want to control people. If you keep everyone divided, it's called divide and conquer. I don't know if you know about that, Tommy, but essentially if you divide and conquer different groups of people, it's easier to control them and pit them against each other, instead of understanding the oligarchs and the elite that are in charge of the ones that are causing all of these problems right now.
So that makes sense.
Yeah, so basically, you and I, even though I live in Washington State, you live in New Jersey, which is way over there. It's got to be chilly. It's got to be late there as well.
It is. I'm outside.
Well, how about that? I mean, we have the same enemy, which is surprising. I mean, the same people controlling the media, controlling the narrative that actually are bringing harm upon the people, they're against not only you, but me as well. And Steve down in Texas. I mean, all three of us share the responsibility of not just speaking against the lies and deceit that they wage against us, but helping recruit others and welcoming others into into open arms when they have that awakening. So that's one of the reasons why I wanted to bring you on this podcast, Tommy, is because, I mean, I'm glad that you saw the Trump assassination and didn't have that TDS gut reaction, that vitriolic reaction where you're like, oh, I wish it would have got him. I mean, so many people had that reaction, and it blew my mind at the time. I mean, my mom had called me and she was like, oh my gosh, they shot Trump. And I was driving and I like had to pull over. I was like, what? Is he okay? And never in my mind would I have ever thought, if it was Joe Biden, that I wish they would have hit him, or that I wish that he would have been hurt. that never would have crossed my mind. As much as I don't like Joe Biden, as much as I don't like Kamala Harris, I would never wish an assassination attempt on them. That is insane. That is absolutely insane, and that's a way to destroy a country. And so I'm glad that you saw the actions of your peers and decided to speak against it. And in all reality, Tommy, I got to be honest, in your line of work as a freelance journalist, technically this could be career ending just by you speaking out and having an honest opinion and saying, hey, I have questions. But I hope that none of that happens, and I hope that your story is actually able to awaken some of your coworkers, some of your family. I hope that more people see this and go, hey, maybe I need to look at myself and critically think about why I've been supporting the Democrats or why I've been supporting Joe Biden and now Kamala Harris. So I really appreciate you coming on. Tommy, is there anything you want to say before we get out of here?
Not that I can think of, but once again, thank you so much for having me on here once again. And I look forward to following up with both of you guys as often as I can.
Awesome.
Again, you guys, it's Tommy Gabriel on X. Follow him there, engage with him there. He is one of the strong people who came out and decided that, hey, an assassination attempt on a president is bad. Started reaching out, doing his own research and speaking out for himself. Tommy, I applaud you, man. Really, everybody go follow him, show him some love, and welcome to Team MAGA, brother. It's good to have you here.
Thank you very much.
All right. Oh no, I'm gone. Oh, I'm back. All right. I clicked the wrong button. Tommy, thank you so much for coming on. That was great. Man,
Yeah.
it is so good to see. It is so good to see someone like him. And Tommy, he is a journalist, and just him asking questions like that and going against the narrative that he is told every day. This is what you're supposed to say. This is how we want you to write it up. He's a freelance journalist. But it's just really cool to see that. It is, I just love it. So he reached out to me a little while ago. I wanted to have him on. I hope you guys enjoyed his story. And I speak with my hands, man. I like, one of the hardest things about being on a podcast is like,
Just trying to be still.
dude, I am an animated person when I talk in real life. So I'm always like waving my hands around and like, all right, I gotta like sit up and you know, not move very much, but I end up just hitting my microphone and shifting things. I constantly just messing with stuff. But sorry, guys, I don't know what to tell you.
What's good about Tommy is like it shows like our work's not done, with
Yes.
like, getting everybody together and all that stuff. I mean, he's a younger guy, you know what I mean? He has
That's Gen
influence
Z.
on Instagram, Gen Z, exactly. So like, that's the type of stuff that motivates me. You know what I mean? Like there's some that'll say, oh, everybody has their vote decided already. That's technically not true. You do have some hardliners that are going to, no matter what, not change their mind, right? But there's those independents and, the libertarians that we really need to focus on and try to bring them over and, unify the party.
Even the early on Democrats, man, this guy, like you said, he's a young Gen Zer who had that moment that awakened him. And I'm glad you pointed that out, Steve, that our work is not done, because it has been, there's so many people who are just like, basically black-pilled in this election and thinking that everybody's already decided. It's like, no, that's not true. What we need to do is stay the course. What we need to do is keep fighting the media. And even though on X, man, you especially, I love seeing the U ratio. Some media accounts or bigger accounts that just like, it's beautiful to see, man. And I mean, just the fact that I think we got Eddie coming in here. How about that? But just seeing the fact that now we can have an influence in this larger sphere, in this larger political sphere, that we can actually enact change and that we can. I mean, just listen to that. I mean, he actually found our podcast on his own. And this is not, it's not like it's not like we're putting out a ton of advertising money that can compete in any way, shape, or form with any of the larger shows. This is by word of mouth or just by happenstance. But thank you guys for sharing this out. Again, that's one of the best things you guys can do to help us out and to help spread this message is to share it out, is to like the video. And man, it is just so cool. I'm just fascinated by his story because I would like to hear of many others. I mean, I see stories every day on X, and being able to bring them up and bring them into the podcast would be great. I would love to hear their story. Why is it that sorry, Eddie's microphone was on, but now I lost my train of thought. Eddie, you want to talk up here? What's up, dog?
No. I was just checking out numbers in the background. Y'all go ahead.
Okay. All right.
Nosy, man, nosy.
You know me. I'm business minded.
Okay, yeah. So Eddie, I mean, most of you guys know Eddie. Usually he's my co-host. Steve right now is my co-host. It is an honor to have you as part of the team here, Steve. And I mean, this message that we're doing, we're so far from being done. And I mean, your podcast, I have a feeling that your podcast is going to pop off. Now, a little bit of details about your podcast that we haven't quite worked out yet is the time and the name and when. So, you know, all those details are coming. Yeah. But I'm proud to have you as part of the Patriots Prayer Network, and I hope that we can make some. I hope we can make 1 million more Tommy Gabriels. Right? I hope we can make 1 million more people awaken and have their eyes opened to the point that, hey, maybe the caricature of the right wing that the media has painted for so long, I mean, that's got to be collapsing, man. It's got to be. Hey, we got Thaddeus here. I'd like to be the first guest. Thaddeus.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, still working out those details and the name. I might put a poll up. I think I have it narrowed down to about 2 or 3, and we'll kind of go from there. But yeah, it's a lot of behind the scenes stuff, and I don't think some people realize, what it takes to put on something like this. But honestly, it's about y'all. If like my followers or whoever follows me, absolutely. They motivate me every single day to post. I look at as many comments as I can. But dude, you guys are awesome. Absolutely, you motivate me every single day to post, to find truth, or it's just racial representative of the United States. I don't know. It just depends.
Yeah. But hey, man, sometimes you got to be a troll. There ain't nothing wrong with that. You got to have fun while you're doing it. And yeah, Steve is going to be reaching 300K soon. If you guys don't follow Steve, it is at Steve Loves Ammo on X. Give him a follow. Newest member of the Patriots Prayer Network, and one hell of an American patriot that I'm excited to have on the team and excited to work with in the future. Hopefully we can do great things for this country. Yep. And I have a feeling we will, man. And like I said, man, I see a chink in their armor and I want to go for it.
Yep.
I mean, a year and a half ago, because I started right around the same time you did. And I technically started, I opened the account when I learned that Elon Musk was buying, but I didn't really post anything until March of last year. And I remember I started last year with March of 2023.
Yep.
And I started last year with 28 followers. And I mean, just to get to the point where I have, which is, almost 130,000 followers now, it's amazing. And just last weekend, I was sitting 10 feet away from the president, listening to him speak. Weekend before that, we hosted our first live event down in Idaho, the Red Pill Palooza at the Old State Saloon. Shout out to Mark Fitzpatrick, the owner of the Old State Saloon, who was generous enough to host us there. And I mean, it was a great time. Michaela Montgomery, she started her first podcast off there. She is a phenomenal voice. It's just one of those things, man. It's like I see so many great people. I've met so many great people, and man, you guys deserve voices. Steve, you have a knack to pinpoint what people are feeling, and it really resonates with people. So anything I can do to help you, I'm down to do. And if it's helping you start a podcast, then I'm in, man. And I know that Eddie and the whole team at the Patriots Prayer Network, we're all going to be fully behind you as well. And I mean, this is really how we fight back. This is how we win. In all reality, this is how we shut down the main. See, I did it again.
Again.
Yeah. This is how we shut down the mainstream media. This is how we end their control over our minds. This is how we create more Tommy Gabriels. This is how we do it. It is by starting to speak up and be active in your community. It is by patriots supporting patriots. And we're going to do our best, like Steve said, to prop up any patriotic accounts that we can. And it is difficult to get to everybody, but we do as much as we can to help you guys out. And hopefully, I don't know what that was. I don't know. I think that's Eddie messing with me in the
Probably
background
Eddie.
right now. Yeah.
It's
Just
like-
deciding to
like,
hit
wrap it up,
buttons.
y'all. Wrap it up.
I know I can go on some long tirades about this stuff, but I fully believe this, man. I believe that this is how we win.
Yep.
So I'm looking forward to this, man. Is there any now I know that you have more than just an X account, Steve. You have a Truth Social. Are you active on Truth Social at all as well?
And so I still have the account. I'll follow Trump, obviously, and some of the other larger accounts that are there, but I don't post as much as I probably should. But if you guys want to follow me there, it's at the Deplorable Veteran. When I started out on X, I was the Deplorable Veteran 84. But I wanted to add a little, I guess a little bit of personality or being a little personal with my account. So my name is actually Steve, right? And I do love ammo. And whenever somebody says,
It's a good thing to love.
Yeah, right. This guy is trying to, say something about, I don't know. I troll somebody and I get some comments sometimes. Oh, the guy that loves ammo is commenting or whatever. I don't care, honestly. I think I have fun with it. Sometimes I get DMs, just ridiculous stuff.
You're actually saved in my phone as Steve the Deplorable, because because that was your first name. That's deplorable vet, and so I just saved you in my phone as that. So I hope you don't
Sounds
mind.
like an old Viking name. In the history.
Yeah, actually, kind of
Deplorable.
does. Sounds like you did some badass shit. Yeah.
Be a great name for a podcast, wouldn't it? The Deplorable Podcast.
Steve the Deplorable. Yeah, see, I mean, there is definitely some benefit to embracing the names that the left gives us, but I don't know if it should be I've heard a couple of the podcast names. You guys, I know Steve is going to put up on his X at some point. He is going to put up a poll, and a couple of the names that he got, top tier, pretty good names. So I'm actually curious as to which one it's going to be, but and I'm not exactly sure when this podcast is going to start, but I know I'm going to invite Steve back on, and we're going to be able to talk a lot more. We'll be able to collab whenever, and it's going to be great. So you guys follow Steve at Steve Loves Ammo on X. You can give me a follow if you want at La Native Patriot. If you're watching on Rumble, actually, if you can, please switch over to Rumble at The Patriot's Prayer. I get so many people who message me saying that it constantly freezes on X, and I don't know why. I don't know what to tell you. I have no control over that whatsoever. But if you want better video quality, you can follow us on Rumble. And look at that, we got some proud deplorables here.
Woohoo! Hey, Susan.
Yes. See, yeah. I mean, this is one of the cool things too about having a podcast is you'll actually be able to interact with your followers, right? You'll get people who will tune in more often than not. And I mean, we got like McGroin Nation that always shows up here, and look, he just gave you a follow as well, or maybe he was following the other guy. I'm not sure, but. I mean, that is a really cool part is you can have a lot more interactions and get closer to some people and actually they make a lot of good points too. So
Definitely.
I mean, I've learned a lot from just reading through my comments and like trying to absorb a lot of the information that I get, because obviously being a middle class nobody, I'm not an expert in anything, but you know, with the study that I've had, and like it's almost like crowdsourcing information and being able to yeah, I guess crowdsource that information, you can get a better glimpse of what is truthful than what most people can get. And that's what we're trying to do, is just find the truth and help everybody see it.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, it takes one team. You know what I mean? I know Trump's pushing the unity portion, and that's, I mean, I've said that numerous times throughout this hour, but I think that's the most important thing right now. You know?
Oh yeah, man, we barely even talked about that. I totally forgot about Tulsi Gabbard, RFK. I mean, RFK, that especially is huge. Now, I know that there's a lot of bad things with him as far as gun control and climate change and his outlook on abortion. Like, I know all that stuff, but if he is going to be put in charge of the FDA or all of our healthcare, the FDA, food approval crap, you know, then yes, I am all for it, because right now Americans are being poisoned. And I learned this especially recently when I started going on the carnivore diet. And I mean, earlier this year, I was getting a little chubby. I was getting a little chub. And I was getting a little soft around the edges, you know, a little bit of bloat. And I was up to 226 pounds, right? I'm only 5'10", so I'm not very tall. I shouldn't be 226. I should not be 226 pounds.
Right.
And man, I have, since I started in May or April.
Carnivore, right?
Yeah, I went on the carnivore diet, started eating. I dropped all sugars, I dropped all carbohydrates, and I just went red meat and eggs and water and coffee,
Right.
black rice. Oh my gosh, and coffee, smoking gun coffee. Oh my god, jeez. I started that in late April, and I'm down 40 pounds now. I'm actually trying to like maintain weight. I know, Eddie. See, he's just behind the scenes now. I almost said a bad name, or the wrong name, the wrong sponsor, even though I'm not sponsored by them. But I am sponsored by Smoking Gun Coffee, and they've done great work. They made this sign. They made the coffee club. I should really give them shout outs more often, because they've just been amazing to work with. So I'll do that right now. Just really quick, smokingguncoffee.com. You guys can go join. We have a coffee club there. You can go to the Tribe of Patriots tab that has all of my specific labels that they've created for me. You can go to the coffee club and join the Patriots Prayer Coffee Club, which is 4 bags a month. It's a reoccurring payment. You get 4 bags of coffee. Beautiful, wonderful coffee. Great labels. Delicious tasting. You can use discount code Native Patriot for 10% off. One word. But yeah, I mean, again, it's one of those things that I need to get better at, which is like self-promotion and shouting out my sponsors and the people that have really helped me out. It's something that I need to get better at and get more comfortable with, in all reality, because the guys that we're up against, you know, like all the media companies, the people we're trying to tackle right now have a ton of money, and they're using it to win. But
they have researchers, and they have staff, and they have people that are basically giving them all the information that they need, and they can just talk about 1 or 2, 3 talking points, you know, and they have all the research done. But like for us, we actually have to go in and actually do that research and put the time and effort, because, you know, it's a smaller podcast. So, you know, we don't have the resources and the capabilities of actually, you know, hiring people, putting people on the payroll to do stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Oh, I mean, for sure. Yeah. My support team is my wife, who makes my food. My support team is my kids, who motivate me. My support team are the coworkers that I have that'll pick up the slack every Monday and Wednesday when I leave early to come do the podcast. I mean, that's my support team. It's the people that are really close to me that actually help me in real life. But my support team is not a bunch of people working behind the scenes to do my own research, to write me a script, to put it in front of me and say, here, just read this. You know, I don't have that. Neither does Steve. Neither does Eddie. Neither does anybody on the Patriots Prayer Network. We don't have that because we are genuine Americans worried about this country, wanting to speak out and make a difference. And I think that we're going to, and I think that we are. I think that we've already made a difference. And I'm so glad that all of you guys are here and watching this. We have over 6,000 viewers, which is incredible. Thank you guys. Much appreciated. If you can, please share the show out and welcome Steve to the Patriots Prayer Network. Again,
glad to have joined, to be honest.
Dude, this it's going to be great, man. And everybody in the chat, thank you for tuning in. If you can, please share the show. We are going to cut it here. And on Wednesday, I'm actually going to have on Malcolm Flex, so that'll be a really good interview as well. Yeah, looking forward to talking to him. I don't know if you want to join, Steve. I don't know if you talk with him much, but
not necessarily. But I've seen a lot of his posts and stuff.
Yeah, he promotes family, and I mean he's a monster. He's like 6'5", and it's just like, you know. He's built.
That was a good Arnold impression, man.
Get to the chopper.
Do it now.
No. Do it now, you idiot. Man, I'm so disappointed to see what came of Arnold. But growing up, man, he was one of the greats. He was one of the greats to witness. So, but yeah, Wednesday, you guys tune back in. You know, Eddie Dragon McGroin has a question here for you. If you want to take a look at that.
Great name, by the way.
Phenomenal. Yes. But yeah, I'm excited. Tune back in Wednesday, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I love you guys. Thank you very much. Steve, welcome. And Tommy, Gabriel, thank you for joining the podcast. That was a great story. I hope many see it, and I hope many are influenced by it and understand that, hey, maybe we're not so bad after all, right? Anything you want to say before we get out of here, Steve?
And I don't know. I think we about covered it. I mean, I'm looking forward to joining the network. So stay tuned.
Stay tuned, you guys. God bless. Take care, you guys.
Trading good for evil.
This is the Patriots Prayer Podcast. It's a tremendous show, one of the greatest shows in the history of the world.
This is Bryson Gray, and you are watching the Patriots Prayer.
Soon on the Patriots Prayer Network. Thank you all.